Hello everyone, and today's locomotive profile I'm doing is a not very well known 482 mountain type of the railroad, because there's a lot of locomotives that are not very popular or well known for, and that is meet Rutland Railway Class L1. They were a small group of four heavy 42s built by American Locomotive Company, Schenectady Works, in June 1946 for fast freight and passenger service on the Rutland line of Vermont. They were originally delivered with green paint and yellow tires with lettering. They were referred to as Green Hornets by Rut crews. After the big wartime rush of World War II in 1945, the Rutland Railway line was still in need of heavier and more powerful motive power, as last new steam ordered by the road was almost 2 decades ago were the three-class K2 462 Pacifics in 1929, as the Rut line was worn out along with its order locomotive power, as the largest power available at the time were several USRA light Mikados delivered during World War I. The Rutland Railway decided to order four 482 mountain type steam locomotives, as they proved to have been very popular and successful on the parent company, the New York Central Railroad. These four locomotives were smaller than the L classes on the New York Central, as they were based similarly on the USRA light mountains. Design following World War I. These locomotives were very unique to the Rut line, as they were the only large locomotives the Rutland ever rostered, along with being the last overall steam built new for the line. Designed as dual service locomotive, they had large 73-inch drivers for higher speed and were all equipped with simplex mechanical stokers having 26 times 30 cylinders set with a maximum pressure of 230 pounds psi. They exert to 54.312 pounds of tractive effort, the highest of any Rut line steam locomotive to have been built. Unlike those on New York Central, these units were equipped with small 8-wheeled tenders, so locomotive in service could fit on the railroad's existing turntables and roundhouse stalls. All four were originally painted in highly distinctive green with yellow trim paint scheme, as the Rutland Railway crews called them Green Hornets. When put into service, these locomotives did very well in freight service, that the L1s were allowed to pull passenger trains thanks to their great stamina in their boilers. Fit with modern box pot drivers, they were common favorites of the Rutland crews in the Vermont and New York states. They operated in daily use everywhere. The main lines spawned on a small railway, becoming very successful. They also became an ideal choice for milk trains in the areas as they could pull at speed of the Pacific, but with more strength, as the green paint scheme was often dirty due to locomotives' soot and leakage stains. They were all repainted black in the early 1950s to match the remaining steam fleet. As the Rutland Railway progressed into 1951, the railway bought two orders of RS series diesel electric from Alco, GE, with the last arriving on the property in 1952. By this point, the Rutland was ambitious to save money with the new diesels as the last run came for all steam, including the four L1s. In 1953, as the railroad dieselized, with the remaining steam fleet scrapped by the end of 1953, the four mountains were the only four that kept past the end of steam, as they were put into storage as backup in case if one of the new fleet of diesels break down. As the line continued to struggle in March 1955, the railroad couldn't afford to keep the four steamers on the roster due to the storage space and maintenance cost, along with rent, as nobody wanted the four less than 10-year-old locomotives. And sadly and unfortunately, the Rutland sold the four altogether for scrapping in Pittsburgh, sadly ending the age of steam on the Rutland, as none of the Rut's steam were saved. The railway would continue to struggle with businesses past 1950s, with all operations ceasing in 1961, with complete abandonment occurring in 1963. So, sadly, all of them were all scrapped. It's a shame though. And there are some fun facts about them. The L1s were the heaviest and largest steam locomotives that the Rut line ever owned, as they were good-sized units to owned by a financially poor line. These Green Hornets were amongst one of the few post-war American steam design to be produced by American Locomotive Company for American Class I Railroad prior to steam production ending in 1947. And they were the shortest lived steam locomotives on that railroad, due being built during the post-war era, as most railroads were beginning to switch to diesel electric power. The L1s were perhaps the best known and remembered steam locomotives on the railroad, as they were very good runners in revenue service prior to power switch to diesel. Although being scrapped altogether as one group, they were the very last steam locomotives to have been scrapped on that railroad 2 years after all steam operations were phased out. And that's it for this video. Hope you enjoy and learned something new. Like and subscribe, and see you later, guys.